blue sky degrees here on this wonderful Thursday. A few clouds around, and the grass is growing and green, and probably had about I think about 3/4 of an inch of rain since we last talked with you last week. So welcome back. Good to have you here on KTUI 1560 AM or 94.1 FM, or possibly you're watching us this morning on Facebook Live. If you are, good to have you aboard. We got a big morning for you. We got several things to talk about and several different groups. Part of the groups are together and part of them are separate, so we're just going to get right into it. First thing we're going to talk about is one of our organizations here in town that I respect probably the utmost because they're veterans. The VFW at Owensville is always there to serve in every capacity. Not only did they serve in the wars, but they serve our community each and every day, and we appreciate everything you have done for us and continue to do. Mike Stillman is the commander there. Mike, welcome. Good to have you here this morning. And Nick Baxter, what title do you have there?
Chaplain now.
Pardon?
Chaplain.
Chaplain. So I appreciate you guys and everything you do, and you know, it's kind of good to maybe get over this coronavirus, you know what I'm saying, because a lot of our public functions, but I know you guys had, you know, some benefits going on, you know, through the last year, some, you know, barbecues and those things that you continue to do, but, you know, probably remember the VFW the best because I used to dance there a whole lot on the weekend, you know, and you still do some of that?
Yeah, but very, very seldom.
Not as much as we used to.
Dancing's kind of faded away.
I know that it has. I know that it has. Well, the VFW has played a key role, but always, in fact, is the center of attention coming up Memorial Day weekend because you got something special this year.
Correct. Last year we had to cancel a Memorial Day service, and kind of disappointment in the community because we get a really good turnout for our service. So this year we're doing the service. We're going to have it outside, the full service, and the only thing we won't be having is refreshments afterwards because we still have our building shut down. But it's on the 31st of May, which is a Monday, of course. 10 o'clock in the morning it starts. So you want to get there between 9:30 and 10. We have seating outside. We'll have that all set up, and it'll be out in the shade mostly. There's the streets there where city allows us to close the streets off, so we're able to set people out in pretty comfortable circumstances. And our guest speaker this year is going to be Sheriff Scott Eiler, Gasconade County Sheriff.
Awesome.
Yes. And hopefully, if everything comes together, our singer and our taps will all be live, not be recorded. So.
You know, I was honored one time to be able to address that that crowd when I was in politics, and tremendously impressed about what order you have. You know what I'm saying? How structured your events are, and the discipline that you all learned and continue to do in the service that you were in. I don't think, Mike, that spit and polish comes, you know what I'm saying, anywhere as good as it does through the military, because you didn't have much choice in that situation.
Well, correct. And like Nick, he's our chaplain now, as he said, we have to recycle these guys and move them on to other officer positions because they don't like to stand up. Nick was a 9 consecutive year commander of the post before I took over 7 years ago. And me and him think a lot alike. We both want to see us do good in the community and, you know, do good for up and coming younger guys joining the post. And it's hard to get good help, but we go into something with a plan. I don't like to just pop out and have nothing there. So yes, we do spend a lot of time thinking of things and doing what we can. Just this pandemic, virus, whatever they want to call it, done a lot of things to us last year. I mean, most of our members are up there in age, and when everything coming out, they was the ones that was most at risk. So I had a lot of guys that didn't want to be out, they didn't want to risk it, and that's kind of where we're at today. We just shut it down.
And we respect that and honor that, because it is real. We all know the coronavirus, someone that is taken, someone that got ill by it, and veterans a lot of times. I know my brother and many others, they carry a list of health issues to begin with, you know what I'm saying? And you don't want to expose them really to anything. Kind of curious, I mean, we're the war in Afghanistan, you know what I'm saying, it went on for a long time, and those things, and I know how 20 years. And maybe it's coming to an end, I don't know, but if you look at the news today, there's going to be another one break out somewhere. There's no question about it at all. How, as far as recruiting members to the VFW, does the younger, I don't know if I call them younger generations, they are, are they as apt to join the VFW and have the coercion, you know what I'm saying, that your old generation did?
Well, here's what the younger generation, they're going to have a meeting. A meeting to them is one guy may be in St. Louis, and one guy may be here in Owensville, and one guy may be in Herman, and they text. That's a meeting to the younger generation. They're very, very up on all the latest technology. Their idea of a get-together is not as a group of people, but as phones or computers, email, I mean, that's everything. But they're slowly coming around. We are getting some to join the post because they realize they don't get the comradeship that they had in the service unless they do get together.
That's exactly right.
You don't get that through that phone or the computer or on email. They're very impersonal. And so it's much better if you want comradeship. Be like we're sitting here talking. You get to see the guy or the person. You get to talk to them, the woman veteran, the man veteran, whatever it is. They get a lot more from that. And you know where they're standing. And if they're having problems, you can tell just by talking to them a lot of times. Can't tell it on the phone because you can't see them. But you can definitely tell it if you're in person. So it does help to get them in. And they're starting to realize that.
And that is a big thing that you do. You watch your other brothers, you know what I'm saying, the other veterans, because, everybody goes through some emotional ups and downs and those kind of things, and, health problems and whatever, and you watch each other's back just as you did in the wars.
Well, the VFW and the American Legion both are service organizations that the veterans came up with over 100 years ago, and they do a lot of service in the community. But the number one goal of both organizations is to see that the veterans get the proper care they need medical-wise, or any resources they need if they're suicidal or anything like that. That's the number one mission of both organizations. Then we have a list of about 4 things that each one do in the community that fills out that list. And I hope that these guys realize, the younger generation realizes that they need these in the community, because it makes your community a much better place. And we're lucky in this area because our community supports us really well.
They do.
They're strong veteran supporters, and that makes us feel good, just because we can do things back, and we have a mutual respect for our community like they have for us. In a lot of communities, you don't have that. You get in a big city, some of the VFWs and the Legion struggle because you don't have no community cohesion.
Well, there's no connectivity between them. You know what I'm saying? Exactly what you brought up, initially here, that unless you get together, unless you break bread, unless you, spend some time together, it's hard to build that fellowship that's absolutely essential. We had a little meeting this morning on having a meeting and with the employees, and they too want to text and do whatever, but it's hard to fully communicate and understand where they're coming from unless, and you can sit down and talk, and a lot of ours are part-time or whatever, but you still got to have some FaceTime with them on a group basis, in order to set your objectives and get done what you're planning on doing, and make sure that they're on board. So,
well, we not only do we think the Memorial Day service is important for us as veterans to honor our veterans as past, but it's important for our community to see us out there honoring the veterans for the same reason. We want them, the community, to keep supporting their veterans coming back now. Maybe you're not aware, maybe you are, but in Vietnam, when we came back from Vietnam, we were instructed not to wear our uniforms when we traveled because people would actually spit on you or do worse. And so we never want to see that with our veterans again. So far, these wars we've been fighting as terrorists, when these guys come home, they've been welcomed. VFW and the Legion both have been very big about being right out front, welcoming them home. But I don't ever want to see it like it was when I came home, because you didn't wear a uniform when you traveled. They could still tell you was in the military because of your haircut if you didn't have a hat on, but it wasn't as bad. If you had your uniform on, I guarantee you'd get accosted. So we don't ever want to see that again. So that's why we work very hard in our community to keep our VFW and our Legion very visible. And these ceremonies are very important. They have a reason, and we want to make sure that they're out there.
There's no question about it. It is. You know, an essential part of our community. It's an essential part to keep telling that story, because we forget. We absolutely forget the sacrifices that are made, and we do appreciate it. And so coming up here Memorial Day weekend, by the way, that's our 10-year anniversary, that Memorial Day weekend also,
Correct.
you know, so, you know, so Memorial Day weekend. You'll be at the post at what time on Monday?
We're there by 8:30 or so, but
Okay.
the ceremony actually starts at 10 o'clock, and it'll start at 10 o'clock sharp. When we say 10, we mean 10.
I totally understand that. So, and guest speaker again will be?
Sheriff Scott Eiler.
Okay. The sheriff will be there, and many others, and you'll have a flag raising, I'm assuming, and
Correct.
taps, and you do any gun exercise? I'm trying
Yes.
to.
Yes. We'll have guns, and we fire. Mike, tell them about it.
We had a howitzer, a 1943 howitzer in front of the post for many, many years. And what's it been, about 6 years ago? About 6 years ago, we got it restored. And when we took it in to get it restored, the guys asked us if we wanted to be able to make it fire. And we said, well, yeah, it wasn't that much more. So we got it capable of firing it. You hook up propane and an oxygen tank, and it lets off a pretty good bang. Shoots flame about a foot long.
No live ammo, in other words.
No live ammo, but it's the real thing. I mean, it makes the noise. We shot, I cleared it with the police the day it was brought to us. They was going to show us how to use it. And I told them, I said, we'll shoot it a couple times so we know how to do it. And we stood out there that day. It was snowing when they brought it back, and we shot it 14 times. And I think the people...
Did Cuba raise the flag and surrender? You know?
Yeah, over at Casey's, they all hit the deck the first time we went up.
We forgot to tell them. They're right next door. We did not inform them. Well, they found out quick.
And now we also take it to home football games.
Oh, sure.
We talked with the school board when we first got it back. Our quartermaster, Darren Fuchs, he's very passionate about football, and he likes to shoot the howitzer too. So he said, I don't know what to do. I can't get him to come down here and look at it. He said, what should we do? I said, we'll take it down to them. So we hooked up to it and took it down to one of their school board meetings, and we showed it to them and fired it that night for them, and we was in. So
that's awesome. That's
Darren takes it to all the home games, and every time they have a touchdown, he pops it off.
You know, that thing has been there since I was a kid.
Yep.
You know, I do hear rumors that once or twice in its lifetime that it might have left the premise.
Taken off, and it actually was damaged. I mean, that was unfortunate. It broke the axle in it when they put. Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, that took something, because them things are built. You know what I'm saying?
But it was. The post wasn't very happy about it when that.
Oh, guys, I'm not making fun of it. Don't misunderstand me. But it is
We have it
true.
secured now. If you would get it loose now, you'd have to really work at it, and somebody would know something was going on. So we definitely secure it well.
Yeah, we got a couple of names on the guilty parties, but the statutes run out. Things happen. It was all in fun. We got it back, and that was long before my time. I've only been down here about 10 years.
I honestly think my brother might have been on the police force at that point, because I had a recall of it, but we'll set our schedules, we'll get the word out there, we'll mention it again, on the radio here to have people make sure that they're aware of the ceremony, and we'll do all we can to get people out.
Okay, I got one more thing I'd like
Yes,
to
sir.
When we mentioned the school here, we're very lucky in our community here with the work with our schools. The VFW and the Legion have excellent relationships with our Holmesville school system, and we do honor guard for any event that they need. And just like you said, we're allowed to fire the cannon on the field. I would say that 95% of the schools in Missouri do not allow that. And we're one of the few in the state that do these things. And I'm very happy with our school administration because over the years, they've always worked with us. And we do about 12 to 15 events a year with the schools where they utilize our building or we go to their.
I remember you guys do. It's Veterans Day. You know what I'm saying? That you go to the school themselves. What an emotional day that is for the kids and the teachers, and I'm sure some of you all too, because a lot of times this is one of the first exposures or only exposures, to the history of the VFW, and to be recognized as such, and to have one-on-one contact with some of these kids, and it's pretty tremendous day.
I have to tell you, we do a Poppy program with the sixth grade classes every year. Now, last year we didn't do it because of COVID, but we'll probably do it again this year, we hope. If not, next year for sure. But if you ask the kids in those classes to raise their hands as to how many people or how many persons in their family or they have any contact with veterans, you'll probably get 60 to 70% of them to raise their hands. Their grandfathers or fathers, sometimes their uncles, maybe their nieces, their aunts. They've been in the service somewhere, so they do. In our local area here, we probably are much better off with the young folks knowing veterans due to the fact that we're a small community versus being in the city. And I doubt if you would get a show of hands down there, you probably wouldn't get just a few people. There's a great difference because of the area we live in, and so the kids here do have more contact with veterans than the normal. But after we started doing that sixth grade program on poppies, we do poppies on the street the Friday before Memorial Day every year. When your kids pull up, even if the parents don't know what we're doing, the kids tell them right off the bat because we've done instruction in school. They remember that stuff. They tell their parents what's happening, so we go right on.
That's awesome. And we would be remiss if we didn't remember also and talk about and thank the VFW Auxiliary. Because those ladies are there for all those events, but they've supported you all for your lifetimes, or your married lifetimes, without a doubt, and they're a very important part of what you do also.
You'll find, and for the size of our community, we have one of the most active VFW posts in the state. The state commander will tell you that, and we're lucky because right over there we have one of our representatives. She's one of our young auxiliary members, and we have a lot like her that's joined the auxiliary because of guys like myself and Mike. Well, you have
a good one because you got good leadership. That's the bottom line to it, and you got good support, from the community. But you are what you are because of you all and the commitment you make. And I see walking in the fair parade, and we're going to have one of them this year also.
Yes.
That's not an easy task for any young person, on a 100 and some degree day, and much less. I remember through my lifetime, a lot of those guys weren't young at all, and they still made that, entire trek down Main Street and all the way to the fairgrounds, and it's pretty amazing.
Well, you have two of them in their mid-80s that are still marching.
That's correct.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, what's Don? Colonel Don Merritt is 85, I believe. I think he's going to be on your show here in a couple of weeks.
He is. I'm not exactly sure what he wants to talk about, but Gracie, you booked him. I'm sure, huh?
Well, he's going to be here anyway.
Don't worry, he won't have any trouble talking.
No, I know. He
Push
is
his way in.
he is and his wife also.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I need to salute both of those.
Yeah,
and
she's a Marine.
we've had them both on the show before, and they're great people and a great part of our community. There's no question.
They might both be here then, and if I could put in a plug for that as well, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment because I took on role as commander of the American Legion post in Rosebud as well. So I've got 2 commander hats.
Boy.
And Don is going to come on and mention that we've started coming back at the American Legion. We're doing tacos and fish and everything every Thursday evening. The only one we see right now that we're going to be down for is Thursday the 29th of July. We're going to close down for the fair. Most people's going to be at the fair, and we need to support that as well. So we got that coming up, and I think that's what Don wants to cover is some of the things coming up within the American Legion.
Precisely, and that's we'll look forward to that. And you brought up our next subject.
Well, I got one more thing
Yes.
about Don. I know he probably has never told you. Don was a Huey pilot in Vietnam. He was
Yes.
shot down 7 times.
I didn't know that.
That's correct. He was injured once. Out of that 7 times, the other 6 he walked away from. But he would never say anything himself.
I've talked with him hours here, and he's
Correct.
never mentioned that.
That's exactly right, though. He was a pilot, and he was shot down 7 times. Them guys, I was on the ground, so I know. Those guys came in places you'd never think could put a car, much less set a chopper down. And they were beyond, I don't know, you just couldn't expect anybody to do what they did. And so he'll never mention it himself, but I'm telling you, because I know back in the day, he was top notch. Still is, of course.
You guys are all heroes to us. There's no question about it. I am, and I'm going to tell you guys because I've told everybody else. Both of my brothers were in the service. I never made it, but I missed something. I guarantee you that I missed something of service, and I've missed something of not being there, and that's. Just the way life is sometimes.
Well,
I missed it.
You can go out through the VFW, Disabled American Veterans, American Legion, all of these guys, and there's, just like you said, there's something there. You could never see these guys before in your life, and gals. There's a lot of ladies moving up through the ranks as members, but it's once you meet them, it just clicks. It's a brotherhood or a sisterhood for life.
I think there was something in a paper I just scanned through a while ago that the Bay Legion,
Correct.
The Bay Legion had a mural that was put in the state
Yes.
just last week or something. In regard to that, I guess that there's not enough people to have the Bay Legion at this juncture. Or
Well,
what?
no, it's still in
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your brother, and
Okay,
quite a few guys that still belong down there.
Yeah.
But it is getting smaller.
Yeah. Well.
That community has kind of drifted away.
I know. Okay, we're gonna take a little break here, and we're going to bring in another group here, or stay around, or do whatever, because our next subject will be we're going to be talking about is the Gasconade County Fair. So while we're doing this, Gracie, do you want to tell us what else is going on in our neck of the woods?
I can.
So, Mike, thank you, Commander.
Oh, thank you, Charlie, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Stay around, and I'll just stick around. We'll be done here in a little bit.
Alrighty, alls I have here is what we got going on at the White Mule this weekend. This Friday night we will be serving steak, shrimp, salmon, and beef kebabs from 5 until 8:30. Saturday we will be serving our pizza, wings, and hamburgers from noon until 5, and then steaks after that until 8:30, and then all you can eat pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 to 3:30 on Sunday. And Ben Hampton will be here tomorrow night starting at 6.
Okay, so, but it is picnic season, and there's picnics coming up galore, and we'll be informing you of those as they come forward, and other events in the community. So, okay, that was wasn't that a seamless change? Well, this is part of the Gasconade County Fair Board here, and Nick again is president, and Annette is.
Catalog. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Tell them. Yeah, that's good.
I'm on the catalog committee. Of course, during the fair, I'm there 7 days. And then this year, I'm in a new position on the volunteer help committee as well.
And would you introduce to the audience, Annette, I'm going to say off-riding and Pfeiffer, you know?
Maybe
You know what, Annette, we've known each other
A long time before.
for a long, yes. Well, you're probably been married now longer than, well, getting close, whatever.
Yeah.
let me introduce her.
Yes.
That happens to be Shyla Baxter, which happens to be my daughter-in-law. And she's on the fair board, on the cattle committee. She's the business representative, the business exhibit representative. She takes care of that. And not to plug her, but I'm going to. She's a VOAG teacher here at Owensville, and she's an FFA advisor, and she's very, very involved in our community. That's why she's on the fair board.
I wear so many hats, you think my head would be bigger, right?
You do, and well, you know, that's all good hats, though. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about, you know, working with the FFA kids and, you know, working with our community in regard to that, you know, that's basically what the fair is about and has been about, and we're going to talk about that because what's it for? It is for our kids. You know what I'm saying? It is for their training and their betterment and their understanding and their recognition. That's what the fair has started. That was the core of what they did, and it still is, correct?
Yes, and that's why last year, that's the one part that we did still do, is the livestock auction and the livestock and the exhibits for the 4-H and FFA. That's the one part that we made sure we did last year. We weren't able to have the general public or the general fair like usual, but that's one part as a fair board we thought we needed to do, was still support the kids.
And you know, that is, people miss that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in all honesty, folks, when, you know, you talk about and, you know, you do what you try to do, so many of the people really miss the intent of what the fair is. And it is about supporting our youth, it is about supporting our community, and it's about, you know, finding something that, that they can grow in, you know, whether that's, you know, quilting or needlework or, you know, 4-H project, making boot jacks. I never did take first place at that, Nick. You know, or if it's cattle or, you know, showing cattle or pigs or whatever it is, there's nobody takes any of this money, you know what I'm saying, in the Gasconade County Fair and doesn't put it back to work in our community and for our kids and for the next generation. Am I wrong?
Correct. And all the fair, all the money that we make for this year's fair, if we make any, goes into next year's fair. There's no spending it on anything else. We try to improve our fairgrounds, our buildings, and we try to get really good entertainment, not just for the adults, but for the kids. We Zoo for You, the Farm Bureau set up a grain thing for the kids to play in the shade so their mothers can take a break. We have a new thing this year we're going to have, that Llama Mama.
Yes,
Mama.
they were on last week. As a matter of fact,
Correct.
we had, I don't know, we got a half office full of diapers because we had an event here. That's going to be a program that people are going to support, I can tell you without a doubt that, you know, and they're not all for our grandkids, just.
That was a wonderful idea they come up with. And
It is.
Because you just don't think about things like that when you get older. And it's an important thing because there's a tremendous amount of young babies around the fair. And people bring their baby. I mean, they bring their little kids. So they need those kind of places and things.
They do, and especially right now with the COVID, so many women, you know what I'm saying, have not made it back into the workforce yet, you know, for various reasons, school, you know, in some areas, and it's important that we support those mothers and we support those kids because they, you know, they are what we are. So today, though, we got a request. I know we got a request from the Gasconade, you know, County Fair Board is, we want your help.
Yes, yes, we do. We're always looking for help, of course. But this year, again, we're out there looking for volunteers for all kinds of things. But I'm going to make a plug for the food stand, soda stand, ice cream stand. Like, so we have 2 food stands, upper and lower. Some people don't realize we have an upper section and a lower section, but we do. So if you have a group, maybe you're a new group in the community that we haven't reached out to, that we're not aware of, or if you have a group of people that would like to volunteer, give me a call. Just call me, or we have a Facebook page that you can go to. Message. We're talking about technology. You can message Facebook, and they'll get the message to me that you want to volunteer. Or I'll just put it out there. Call me direct. I do have a home phone number yet. 573-437-3942. You can give me a call. Like I said, we do have some spots available. Again, this is a totally volunteer. Just like us on the fair board, every hour we put into the fair is volunteer. We still buy our own season passes. We still buy our food when we go to the fair. It is strictly volunteer. So if you do want to come, I will put that out front that you will still need to buy your pass for that day, or if you're coming to the fair anyway, you're usually there and you want to volunteer, let us know.
What a tough job you have, you know what I'm saying, filling all of these positions, because, Chuck Edel did it for years. I think actually you were mentoring my son Woody, to fall in that particular role, and, the triplets kind of took him out, a little bit, and we understand that. He's got a little excuse, Nick, for a few more years.
Listen, he was on my catalog committee too, so I miss him immensely for the catalog too. And the other thing is, I will also mention there are other people on this volunteer committee this year. It's not just myself. So if you know, like Phyllis Gross, and you want to get in touch with her, touch base with Phyllis.
Yes.
Or Allison.
Yes. Okay.
Gruziak, I believe, something like that. If you know Allison, you know who I'm talking about. But the 3 of us are working on getting this volunteer groups together. So get in touch with any of the 3 of us.
So you're the connection with school, you know what I'm saying, through FFA, and and they do a lot, you know what I'm saying. The FFA always involved, and they're involved personally with probably more work at the fair than anybody, with their livestock, that they have, and also the ag projects that they make, and those particular things. But here's a place, I think, just in my own assessment, that we need to look at and see how many other young kids that we can get involved in the fair in some way, because it carries on. We're involved, and Gracie's involved in the fair because she showed cattle and did whatever, and it comes a time to do it when it comes around, okay, to give back and help, with the volunteerism. This is an area I think that we need to consider and see what we can do, because, these, some of the younger kids really enjoy it, you know what I'm saying? They have the energy to do it. You see a lot of them do it, and it's a good thing.
Absolutely. I know, like Owensville FFA, we work a food stand shift. I think Herman FFA also works a food stand shift. There's several 4-H clubs that work several different shifts, doing lots of different things. There's church group shifts with kids. So, if you have a group of kids that, I don't know, I can't even think of any examples, but don't be hesitant to volunteer just because they're kids. Like you said, they have energy, they're willing to learn, they're excited to help. So groups of kids work great. I mean, they obviously will need adults to come in and help them.
Sure.
But groups of kids work great. They're excited to come in and help, and it teaches them that it's important to give back, and these things don't just happen. You have to have people behind the scenes that work to make these things happen. And volunteering can be fun, and it's great, but again, you have to have the work behind the scenes to make it happen. It doesn't just happen overnight.
And it's not only FFA and 4-H. I think of the sports, different sports organizations that are there. There's a whole lot of kids involved in those things. They have the energy, that they have the desire.
Yeah, I think football does. Does football
does some.
Yeah.
I need to make a plug too.
Sure.
Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts.
Yes.
just because some of us at this table grew up in the farming community, we sometimes forget about them.
Absolutely.
Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts are involved in the fair, helping and working,
Absolutely.
and Cub Scouts are there as well. So like I
Absolutely.
said, there's all kinds of kids and people involved.
This kind of goes on what you were talking about, Charlie. If you do not let the kids get involved when they're young and get them into helping the stands and the different parts of the fair, if you wait till they're 15, 16, 17 years old and try to get them to help,
You lost
you've
them.
lost them. You do not have them. You have to get them in there. All my kids grew up at the fair. I grew up at the fair, and my grandkids are there. And they're all involved. They got different things they do at their different sizes, of course. But I'm telling you, if you don't work with them at that age, they're teenagers. You're not going to have them.
We had, of course, Annette's been on here and done that too. At our church, we had picnic, and numerous years back, some comments was made of, some kids were, kids were there handing sandwiches out and doing whatever, and, some of the old timers, what I'm saying, thought that maybe they were a little too young, what I'm saying, to serve and do whatever, I didn't agree with that at all, because you know what I'm saying. I mean, and even today, I mean, it's getting them kids involved and having them feel like they're doing something is probably the most important thing that we can do, to give them a chance to try different things, but work with other people. You know what I'm saying? To work with other people and involved in the self-satisfaction that's created there.
My kid loves nothing more than to run around and brag about all the work that he does at the fairgrounds with his grandpa, and it is hard work in July.
Are you kidding me?
And everybody knows his name.
Hard work in July. We set up all these panels. We moved all this gravel. And it's it is hard work. I'm not talking about fun work handing out sandwiches. Hard work, building and grounds work. And he loves it. He eats it up. He's 8 years old. He loves it. Bragging about hard work. But you start when they're young, and he loves it. It's so funny.
Teach them the way, and they'll be there. There's no question about it.
Exactly.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, that said, Nick, I mean, we need their youth, we need their excitement, we need their energy, and sometimes we got to let them do how they want to do things too. You know what I'm saying? And if it's a little out of the box or whatever, that's okay. But I'm excited when I see youth, maybe got all their own 4-H clubs, you know what I'm saying, or maybe, got their shirts or whatever there. They're having fun. You know what I'm saying? They're having fun, and they're enjoying it, and it is an awful lot of work, and you'll take volunteers at any level. I mean, we're not only talking about the food stand and those things.
Individuals as well.
There's-
Gates, food tickets, those kind of things too.
There's 7 days, probably the very weekend before the fair is very intense, the very weekend after the fair is very intense, but we have a week on front of each end of that we spend time there, some guys maybe 12, 15 hours a day, to get everything set up, and then the same thing taking it down, because nobody comes in and takes it down for us, all volunteers, and most of the people that work at the fair work at other things, because they're active people, so you have to work it in between, and so everybody gets there and goes to the gangbusters, and without that, we wouldn't have the type of fair we have. We have a excellent fair for the size county we have.
We do.
Probably one of the better fairs in the state.
I totally
as far as I'm
agree.
concerned, not just because I'm involved with it, but because
No.
it's put on by people in our community. The Washington Fair is nice, but they have a different atmosphere down there because they use vendors that are from outside, and they don't have the same ambience.
They don't have the
we
same mix of people either,
Correct.
which is all fine. I enjoy the Washington Fair, but for a few hours, you know what I'm saying. But it's not like ours. But they do a great job too.
Oh, no, they do. It's a different different atmosphere. And then, like I was telling you before, Marys County was going to lose their fair this
Yeah.
year, except the Chamber of Commerce in Vienna has stepped in. Hopefully, they can raise enough volunteer help to go ahead and have their fair in September like they normally do. But the Fair Board had actually going to drop it altogether because they could not get enough help. And
Have
so-
you ever thought, do you have any idea how many volunteers you need to put this thing on, to put the fair on, or I mean, it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. It's hard to know the numbers, but
Yeah, but
it's
it's
in
a
the
huge
hundreds.
number.
It's hundreds.
Oh,
It's
I
hundreds.
guarantee
Because
you.
granted, there are some people that work 3 and 4, 5, 6 shifts, and then there's some that just work 1 or 2 shifts. So like I said, it is hard to know how many hundreds we actually have that help.
And the week before and the week after, you have people that don't come at the fair and work,
Yeah.
but they're there that week and that week after to help get
Setting
it
up,
down.
tearing it
Because
up.
that takes a tremendous amount of people, because everything has to be put away. The fairgrounds is inside the city of Owensville at the park grounds. And with the agreement that we have with them, the rental lease on their grounds, we have a certain number of days to get everything up and then a certain number of days to get everything down. And it has to look like it did or better when we started. So if we do damage during the fair, we have to correct all that and then.
And we've had to do a lot of that too. I
That's
mean,
right.
when you think when it's rained, oh my goodness.
The weather's very much a part of that. Some years, we've had major storms. We've never lost a complete fair, but we have lost a day. We had our stage damage one night, or one storm beyond repair a few years back, and those things happen. But, you work twice as hard to make that up and still keep the same quality fair the next year.
It's a tremendous challenge, and it requires an awful lot. But as far as the volunteer, I mean, we kind of went through a litany of things that they're to do. But there's a lot of businesses, I'm saying, that help too, contribute. I mean, when you're setting up and taking down the fair board don't have a lot of the equipment, I'm saying, that they need, to do whatever. So people bring in their equipment to help or do whatever and volunteer to do that. But
We have a lot of businesses and factories even that volunteer a shift in the food stand or a shift in the soda stand. So yes, we are appreciative of all of the businesses in the community, in the county.
And the FFA plays such an important role here, because when I used to be on the fair board, I know a lot of those were the ones that got to move the gates, and carry those gates. But hopefully they're using some skid steers now to move part of them around, and because there's a lot of manual work, in regard to that. So now the food stands that are above and below, do you need equal amount of people to run those?
Pretty much so, because we have a huge crowd down below. I mean,
I
when
know
look
you
at the
do.
events that we have, can I just mention some of the events we've got going on?
Absolutely. And what go?
Maybe draw some of these people to come to the fair and then they'll want to volunteer while they're there.
Exactly.
Because like I said, lower food stand draws in a lot of people because we have such big events down there. So if you want to do an average shift at the food stand, it's going to take roughly 15 to 20 people. If it's a day.
And for how many hours do you usually do that?
Usually 3 to 4, depending
Okay.
on which stand you're in. And your people can kind of switch that out if you need to. If you have more people and you want to kind of divide your 3 to 4 hour shift up, you can. But that's generally what we like. It's 15 to 20.
Sometimes during the day shift it's a little slower, so sometimes they go 4 hours. But
Right.
I know when we do
6 to
several
9
stands. Sometimes they're about 3 hours,
Yes.
and that's 3 hours is a pretty long time if you're frying hamburgers.
Because you're working.
Yes.
But it goes fast, and it's
Yeah.
it is.
But like I said, lower and upper are pretty much the same as far as manpower, because like I said, down below, like Wednesday night this year, we've got the bull riding and barrel racing going on, so that's going to draw a big group of people in.
It
So
will.
we're going to need help down there. Thursday night, of course, is the demo derby. We're famous for our demo derbies now, right? Friday night, of course, we got SMTTPA truck and tractor pulls, a farm pull on Friday night. Of course, down below you got your beer gardens down there. We got bands on Friday and Saturday night at the beer gardens down there. That draws some people in. Saturday, we've got the car show going on during the day. So Saturday, again, we need volunteers all day because the car show is going on starting at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. And then we've got MMTTPA and truck and tractor pulls. We've got Missouri Farm Pullers this year. So like I said, a lot of stuff going down below. Nick, do you want to talk about the upper,
Sure.
since you got it there?
For the size fair we have, and this is a nod to our entertainment committee, they always seem to come up with excellent.
They do an excellent job, and a lot of times they'll get people right before they hit
Correct.
big time. You know what I'm
They
saying?
do a really tremendous job. So we've had a lot of requests for gospel music at some time during the fair. So this year we have a group signed called I Am They, and they're a gospel group, and they'll be there on Thursday night at the upper stand. And then on Friday night, we got what they call the Roots and Boots Tour, and that's Sammy Kershaw, Colin Ray, and Aaron Tippin. They went together and then they do a tremendous show. I know everybody will like that. And then on Saturday night, we have Craig Morton, and that's on the 31st. And so we have a little bit of something for everybody, and we're going to try the gospel. We've had a lot of requests for it, so we're going to shoot it out there and see what it does.
I think you'll be surprised.
Our fair is successful because we draw such a diverse crowd. And we try to get entertainment for all these diverse groups, because the people that come on Wednesday night for the Bulls and the Boys and the Barrel is a different group entirely that'll be there on Thursday night for the Derby, the Demolition Derby, because it's two different groups of people that have interest in two totally different things.
One of my highlights of the fair was when I was on the board, we had Trish Yearwood. And I got to give her a tour, you know, you know, that's pretty cool, Grace. What I'm saying? Garth don't have that much of it. But it was cool, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got to meet this person in real time, and her personality is just as it appears to be. She's, you know, great. But I still remember and recall that, because, you know, what a class act, and what a talent. And that was right before she really hit the big time. But they picked her.
During my time there, Trace Adkins, we had Trace Adkins one year, and he's the most down-to-earth person you'd ever want to be around. Most of the groups come in, they'll stay in their bus or whatever, and then come out and do their performance and leave. Trace Adkins come around our fair and walk the grounds. He wanted to see the cattle. He wanted to see everything. He had a flat tire on a trailer, so we tell him we can get him to come down and fix it. Oh, heck no, he says, I'm just taking it uptown. So he takes it off, and he takes it uptown, goes to Joe's Tire and gets his tire fixed. Comes back, he said, I want to see what's around here. He's just a great guy. So we do have people that come in like that want to see what we do have, how we put that fair on. Very interesting.
It is, and you know, it takes all kinds, and you know, we're fortunate in these situations to get just a little bit closer, and they're fortunate also, because Gasconade County, and this is the reality. You know what I'm saying? This is where the rubber really meets the road, and I think it pulls them back. You know what I'm saying? And brings them back. You know, and I think they, you know, certainly enjoy the rural crowd and what they do. So.
And then because I'm a veteran, one more thing. There's another thing where our groups intertwine. The veterans provide color guard, flag raising, and stuff for the fair opening ceremonies. We do that in conjunction with the sheriff's office. Their officers all come in full uniform. The military's in full uniform. Flags are raised, Pledge of Allegiance, and so forth. So the groups, there we go again, our various community groups come together to make sure the start of the fair is excellent.
And we're always trying to do something a little different from year to year. This year we have a new carnival coming in for various reasons.
Oh, a new carnival?
Have a different carnival coming in this year, so we do have a different carnival.
Man, we had that carnival, didn't we have?
There had been one for
a long time. Huh?
And then we had a new one a couple years ago, and now this year we have another one. Conflicts and dates, I believe. We have some new systems as far as livestock.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that new?
Yeah, so for the livestock, all the livestock entries for all the shows and everything, those are going to be online this year. All the paper entry forms are going away. So if you go to gasconadecounty.fairentry.com, that's where you can do all your fair entries and pay any fees. Everything is going online this year, so we're really excited about that. Streamline the process, make everything super simple and faster this year, so we're excited about that. And then also, I guess I need to probably plug for business exhibits.
Be good.
If you would like to exhibit at the fair and have like a business space and set up like a booth, we have spaces available, and you can purchase like a 10-foot space to do that. You can purchase a space for $50 or $75. The $75 space is just like a little more in the heart of like where things are happening at, like closer to the grandstand. They're at the top of the fairgrounds. If you have like wares to sell or I don't know, information to hand out. Sometimes we have like church groups that set up, or I don't know.
Sure.
Just no food vendors.
Yeah, just no food vendors is the only thing really there. We also allow businesses to hang signs on the gates that surround the park. So you can also do that. And again, you can just check the fair's website. You can find more information on there, GasconadCountyFair.com. And if you would like to hang signs at the lower field, like where they do the demo derby and the tractor pulls and stuff, you have to contact Katie Miller for that. That would
Okay.
be different than me
Okay.
for business exhibits. But she gave me her phone number and asked me to plug for that today. 573-690-4809.
And you know, we got a few minutes left, but we're going to go back and get some contact information in just a little bit so people can get their pens down and write the numbers down, you know, so they can volunteer. And we'll take individuals, you'll take groups, we'll take your relatives that you're wanting to get some work. Yes. And by the way, you cannot volunteer other people. You know what I'm saying?
Throw them under the bus.
We can't? No, I can't volunteer, Grace.
Oh, you can. They signed up. I appreciate White Deal has already agreed to do their shifts, so we appreciate White Deal Winery for what they do for a shift as well for us.
And we're gonna do our best to set up and do some shows there too. You know, we talked to Sam a little bit, but you know, get the word out and do what we can there. So.
Well, we don't know how this works out, but Annette seems to be our public relations person for the radio, because every time they come around for an interview, she's the only one there.
Yeah. And then
I tell you what, all of you are very qualified to do that, just so you know. I mean, you know, you all do
And I
it.
start talking old-time stories.
Well, I wish you success, but, there's no buts about it, folks. You got to be prepared, because I believe that this thing is going to break wide open. You know, I mean, people will be there. People are hungry to get out. I can just tell you what I see here. You know, the last month we've been blessed all through this, you know, to have great crowds, but just the last month there are a table full of people that haven't been here for a year and a half, families and older people that, you know, were concerned or whatever. But this fair is going to be, in these community events, there's a lot of pent up, you know, out there, and the exhibitors, you know what I'm saying, and the tractor pullers, and all of these people are hungry to get out and do what they do, and it's going to be great. So let me get some numbers out here if you want to volunteer. Probably, is there something, does Fair Board have a Facebook page?
Yes.
That they can go to that Facebook page and comment on that?
Yes, Gasconade County Fair
Okay.
Facebook page or the website. I think there's a comment section on there as well, a message thing, I think. But yes, and if nothing else, the Fair Board, there's a phone, an answer machine at the Fair office. And that would be, of course, everything is 573-437-2258.
That's your number?
Fair office.
Okay,
That's the fair office.
Fair office. So that if you have questions about something else that we haven't talked about, that you want to leave a message, that it does get checked every so often.
Okay.
Don't expect an answer that day, but somebody does check that answer machine. So if you have a question about something that we haven't even talked about. But if you are willing to volunteer, my number is 573-437-3942. Just leave me a message, because I'm kind of like you. I've got a lot of hats, so I may not be there, but I will get back to you. So volunteer help, feel free to call that number.
And your number, or Katie's number?
Oh, sure. So signs for the lower field where the demo derby and tractor pulls will be, you would need to call Katie Miller, 573-690-4809. And if you're looking for information on business exhibits, go to GasconadeCountyFair.com. And looking for fair entries for the livestock shows, GasconadeCounty.fairentry.com.
That's going to be a good deal there too, because
I'm so excited for that. I'm not even kidding.
I know showing cattle and getting this done and doing whatever, getting all the I's dotted and the T's crossed.
Just
If you got the
like
paperwork
The
done,
clerking after the sale is so stressful, like pulling tickets, and that's so stressful. I'm excited for just automation. It's gonna be great.
It will be.
And then I got one more thing I'd like to add. Just while we were talking about the businesses in the community supporting us, they really do a great job. And we appreciate what you're doing for us because you're a business in our community, the White Mule Winery, and you do a lot of support our way, which really helps us out, not just as a fair board, VFW, different groups that you do fundraising for. This White Mule is very active in our community, well known.
Well, we got to keep Gracie busy.
you go.
You know what I'm saying? And we've got new volunteers on the way.
But
Keep them coming.
Hey, thank you for what you do. You know, thank you for the leadership that you take in every regard. Thank you for working with our kids. You know what I'm saying, and making And I got sympathy for you sometimes, but no.
I have sympathy for myself as close to the school year, I'm telling you.
But you're the people that make this community great. Nick, your leadership and your dedication, we appreciate that through and through. The VFW, of course, is a tremendous fraternal organization. Thank you. And our mics are always open to any of you. And we'll probably be asking you to come back even before the fair and talking more about exactly what's going on and where they can get tickets and all of those particular situations. But we'll work on the volunteers and we'll see what we can get done for that.
Great, appreciate it.
Thank you for being along with us today here on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or Facebook Live. And next week, Grace, we will be back next week, and we will have
I believe Amanda is on again.
Amanda Oakenfush is going to be on talking about whatever.
Llamas again.
Oh, okay,
And the
okay.
fair a
And,
little bit.
okay, a little bit more about the fair and
There you go.
whatever. And we're going to be talking to some politicians here. Concession is out, and we're going to get an update on, or it will be out this week, and we're going to schedule some of them in and talk about, what's happened in Jeff City, this last year. So stay tuned. Good to have you along, and good Lord willing, we'll be here next week. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I got
St. Johns County Sheriff Rob Hardwick announced that Bailey's body had been found in a wooded area, stabbed several times. The unnamed 14-year-old will be charged with second-degree murder. St. Johns